a key component to that pathway is getting all of the assessments as quickly as possible. And so, obviously one thing that we will be seeking will be a federal disaster. To be able to do that, we've got to mathematically qualify for it, which NIM-KIT can cover for you. But there's other nuanced aspects to this process that NIM can go over. But why don't we go over on the table, Judge? We'll start with you. You can bring us up to date with what you're seeing, what's going on, and what you need, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. As y'all know, we've been in the response and rescue mode. Today we moved into the recovery mode. And with those drainage, looking at the drainage and the damage assessments that we're going to be taking place here very quickly. We've already started on that, so we're moving in the right direction. East County is a little bit slower. They were still in the flood stage yesterday. It was still rising a little bit yesterday in East County. But now that that's coming down, I think we're going to see a pretty good response to what we need to be. But Governor, thank you to you. You asked what we need. Because you did your disaster declaration as quick as you did it, we were able to take advantage of the state resources almost immediately. It's really been amazing. Our Texas Tax Task Force, both groups that have come in here have helped us tremendously. And they're going to stay here until pretty much the job is done, and we appreciate it. So that has helped us. We've got lots of assets, we have lots of resources, and we help other counties any way we can. We've got mutual aid agreements and whatnot, but we're moving in the right direction. And but again, thank you for doing that quickly. Mine was shortly after yours, and we're on our way. Now we just need that federal declaration. So you can count on us, and I know the others, to get you the data you need, because it's there.
Good.
So
Good. Appreciate it.
This is
All
Jason Millsap.
Jason, how's it going?
It's our Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, works directly for me. It's also my Chief of Staff.
There you go.
Jason.
Go for it.
Yeah, so for us, it was a Harvey level event in the watershed, but not necessarily on the localized flooding side. So we were very blessed that the rain set up not on top of us, but if you live in the channels, like Judge Knight and I were talking about earlier, you're having a Harvey level flood event, and so that's what we've been dealing with. County resources in Montgomery County began our operations on Wednesday, assisting our neighbors in the northern counties, Walker County, City County, and Conroe County, doing water rescues. And they shifted the water rescues to locally. We had about 330 water rescues in Montgomery County alone. Some of that's evacuations, some of that's emergency rescue.
Thank you.
Mic check, check 1, 1, 2, 3, mic check.
Check 1. Mic check. All good over here. Mic check.
Yeah, we-
what you need, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. You know, as y'all know, we've been in the response and rescue mode. Today we moved into the recovery mode. And with those drainage, looking at the drainage and the damage assessments that we're gonna be taking place here very quickly. We've already started on that, so we're moving in the right direction. East County is a little bit slower. They were still in the flood stage yesterday. It was still rising a little bit yesterday in East County. But now that that's coming down, I think we're gonna see a pretty good response to what we need to be. But, Governor, but thank you to you. It's, you asked what we need. You know, because you did your disaster declaration as quick as you did it, we were able to take advantage of the state resources, almost immediately. It's really been amazing. Our Texas Task Force, both groups that have come in here have helped us tremendously. And they're gonna stay here until pretty much the job is done. We appreciate it. So that has helped us. We've got lots of assets, we have lots of resources, and we help other counties any way we can. We've got mutual aid agreements and whatnot, but we're moving in the right direction. And but again, thank you for doing that quickly. Mine was shortly after yours, and we're on our way. Now we just need that federal declaration. So you can count on us, I know the others, to get you the data you need, because it's there.
Good.
So,
Good.
all
Appreciate
right.
it.
This is
All right.
Jason Millsap.
Jason, how's it going?
It's our Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, works directly for me. It's also my Chief of Staff.
There you go.
Jason.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
so, for us, it was a Harvey level event, in the watershed, but not necessarily on the localized flooding side. So we were very blessed that the rain set up not on top of us. But if you live in the channels, like Judge Knight and I were talking about earlier, you're having a Harvey level flood event. And so that's what we've been dealing with. County resources in Montgomery County began our operations on Wednesday, assisting our neighbors in the northern counties, Walker County, San Jacinto County, and Conroe County, doing water rescues. And they shifted the water rescues to locally. We had about 330 water rescues in Montgomery County alone. Some of that's evacuations.
today. We just wrapped up a meeting where I had the opportunity to visit with and catch up with local elected leaders who have been at the forefront of responding for their constituents to this extraordinary rain and flooding event. And it has been heart-wrenching to see our fellow Texans be literally inundated with record waterfall, record rise in water, flooding homes, destroying lives, and unfortunately even claiming some lives. We don't know with certainty the total number of lives lost. I do believe, however, at least 3 lives have been lost as a result of storms that have swept through here over the past few days. One is a police officer from the Conroe Police Department who lost his life in a tornado that was part of the storm. Another was a young child in Johnson County who got swept away because of rushing waters. Same thing happened to an adult male in Bosque County. We all know that regardless of what type of event we are dealing with, whether it be a hurricane, a flooding event, a fire, whatever, the main thing we want to do is to protect lives. And it's important, and all these leaders know this, it's important for everybody across the state to understand that we still face challenges and that we need to make foremost among our efforts the task of ensuring that we continue to protect lives in the entirety of the affected regions. As much as what we have witnessed is a heart-wrenching event, oftentimes I see our fellow Texans show the resiliency that Texans truly have. It could be friends helping friends, or neighbors helping neighbors, or strangers actually helping out their fellow Texans, assisting them to evacuate, assisting them down the road, assisting them with housing or food or whatever type of aid is needed. I'm so proud of my fellow Texans for stepping up and helping out without being paid for it, just because that's the type of style that Texans have, to help each other. So I want to provide several things. One is going to be an update on where we are and what has happened. But before I do that, I want to express my gratitude for all of the local officials who provided information to me today, including Montgomery County Judge Keogh. We got Conroe Mayor Pro Tem Kurt Maddox with us. We have the Montgomery County Emergency Management Coordinator Jason Millsaps, the Woodlands Township Chairman Dr. Ann Snyder. We have the Mayor from Huntsville, Mayor Humphrey. We have the Liberty County Judge Knight, Walker County Judge Colt Christian. We have the Montgomery County Sheriff Henderson. And we have State Representatives Metcalf, Toth, Kissman, Cunningham, and Ashby. Your State Senator Brandon Creighton, and a member from Congress, Morgan Luttrell. On the update, there now are 91 counties that have been impacted by this ravaging storm. 91 counties for which I have declared a state disaster. There are 232 responding agencies, counting state and local agencies, as well as federal, that are responding to this. There are 5 states from outside the state of Texas that are also providing assistance, and we thank them for lending their personnel to respond to this enormous and catastrophic event. Altogether, at the state level, the state has evacuated 124 people and rescued 58, including 99 pets. When you hear stories at the local level, there's well over 500 people who have been rescued through the operations at local levels. We cannot thank the local emergency responders enough for their professionalism, for the extraordinary efforts they went through. You know, I talked about how 3 lives are lost. What we do not know is when you look at all the rescues performed by the emergency first responders, which is well into the hundreds, how many lives were saved by those first responders. We thank them for what they do. As of this morning, the update on roads at the state level, not at the local level, but on state roads. As of this morning, there are 43 locations on state roads that are closed due to high water, and there are 14 locations on state roads that are closed due to flood damage. Those reports are based upon assessments that we have at this time. Obviously, they will be updated as additional assessments come in. As far as power outages are concerned, at the peak on Thursday, there were about 160,000 power outages. As of a short time ago, that is down to now less than 7,000. As it concerns structures, damage to structures obviously is catastrophic for the owner of those structures, whether it be a residence, a business, or a government facility or building. But what we have reported is about 800 damage reports to structures across the entire region. Know this, and that probably is a very low number. The reason for it is because of the weather, because of the storms, because of the rushing water, we've not had the ability to make the assessments that are needed to be made in order to identify all of the structures that have been damaged. Those numbers will continue to come in and obviously and likely continue to grow in number here in the coming days. As far as shelter, because of the number of people who needed to evacuate, who needed to escape the storms, people were seeking shelter. As of today, the information we have is, at least as of last night, there were 125 people who were in a shelter situation at that time. That number may increase because of the reality that there is going to be an increase in water levels in rivers all across this entire region. That increase in the water flow of rivers could lead to greater flooding in those regions, which could lead to more evacuations of even more people. So that the number may grow to be more than 125, or in certain regions, as the waters begin to recede, there could be the opportunity for people to go back into their homes. Our goal is to make sure that everybody who needs shelter will be able to get that shelter. More information about that will be provided by Chief Nim Kidd here very shortly. Once again, I want to thank our first responders for everything they did and continue to do to step up and respond to the storm. So now as rain is not falling where we are right now, there could be some people who think, well, you know what, we may be out of the woods. That would not be the correct thing to think for several reasons. One, as I was just mentioning, rivers are going to continue to rise for days. Specifically, the Trinity, San Jacinto, and Navasota rivers are expected to continue to rise. Anybody around the regions of those three rivers needs to know the rising waters in your area, and be sure and listen to what your local officials are saying about what action needs to be taken to make sure that you're saving your life as well as your property. There will remain road closures for a while. One thing we talked about in the briefing, and that is destruction to roads, whether they be state roads or county roads. It may take a while to be able to repair some of those roads based upon what the conditions are. And other roads, it may be perfectly fine after the water recedes, but we still need the time for the water to recede from those areas in order for traffic to be able to make it safely through those facilities or areas. One thing along these lines that I cannot emphasize enough, and that is everybody driving a vehicle, they can ensure that they protect their lives and the lives of others when they're on the road by making sure they never drive into high water. We've seen horrific deaths and injuries arise because of vehicles driving into high water, thinking that they could make it through, only to, in the end, lose their life. It is not worth risking your life to drive through high waters. You know the old saying, turn around, don't drown. It still applies, even though water is not falling where we are right now, especially around these areas that will have raging rivers that will be overflowing the banks in the coming days. Know that you could be in a situation where if you drive into that water, you could be putting your life at risk. Another thing that's going to be of utmost importance as we move forward from this day on is inspections of commercial facilities, of residential facilities, all different types of facilities to, for one, determine that there is no one who has been injured or lost their life, but two, what is the extent of damage and what must be done to repair those damages, and whether or not those damages can be reported and counted toward a FEMA disaster declaration. So on the rebuilding part, one thing that we are strongly urging everybody to do today, if you haven't done so yet, and that is to report your damages. As Chief Gibb will go into greater detail here shortly, in order for this region to be able to receive federal financial assistance, it's important that there is enough identified damages that qualify us for that federal assistance. We won't know that unless you report your facility as being damaged. There's a very easy tool to use to get that job done. In fact, it is on this sign right here. If you go to this website location on your phone, on your laptop, any type of communication device whatsoever, that is the shortcut pathway to report your damages. If you're unable to do that, be sure and contact your local elected officials and let them know what your damages are, or otherwise contact the Texas Division of Emergency Management so we can make sure that if you have sustained damages, we will be able to get that reported. With damages, oftentimes comes several other things. One is scams. Listen, there's going to be people knocking at your door, people calling you, people with signs up, offering to put you first in line for repairs, asking for your money up front, and they'll come back the next day to complete the repairs, but never show back up. Do not fall prey to scams. The best way you can do that is maybe look into the person that you're trying to hire to do the repair work on your home and make sure that they're well qualified and have a good reputation. If they can't be found anywhere on the internet or anything like that, you may be dealing with somebody who could be involved in a scam. So just watch out. You've already lost your property. Don't lose your money to a scammer. Let's see. That may be about it on my report. At this time, I'd like to turn things over to County Judge Keough.
Thank you, Governor. Appreciate y'all being here. Governor, thank you for your comments. And as usual, you were very thorough in covering all these things. I do want to say, as you think about the amount of recoveries and the amount of rescues and whatnot, we already heard the state level, but as we now get into and really look at the hard numbers of what has taken place locally, I can tell you that in our county, we've got upwards between 300 and 350 rescues, whether it be from evacuations of homes, whether it be from people who have driven off the road and side of the road. So far, to the best of our knowledge, we have had no loss of life in Montgomery County, and for which we're thankful for. I also want to say that we now are in a recovery mode. We have been in the rescue and response mode. Being in the recovery mode, it is our goal, as you mentioned, Governor, that we have to do damage assessments, and we will go house by house into these communities and do those damage assessments, but we can't file this on the individual's benefit. They have to do it themselves. You've already been given the data that you need to do it. I would encourage you to write it down and to go to it and report the damage. And that way, the quicker we get that, the better off we're going to be. I will say that because, Governor Abbott, thank you because of your proactive approach in declaring a disaster early. Was remarkable for TDM to be able to send us the resources that we need. The Texas Task Force, who came here immediately, which is going to stay until we're done, not just for us, but for the entire region, will be able to use these. There are other with mutual aid agreements that we have with other states who have come here and are helping us as well in the entire region. And as I say to all the elected officials, if you don't know what is available, then you need to contact our Office of Emergency Management right here in Montgomery County. We'll be glad to tell you anything that you need to know. But I believe we're moving in the right direction, but there's still a lot of work to do. So I'm just so thankful that you did that ahead of time and for the proactivity in that. And to Nim Kidd, we just appreciate it. Special thanks also to my Director of Homeland Security Emergency Management, Jason Millsaps, who has absolutely put together with our ESDs, with our Sheriff's Office, the constables, with the Department of Public Safety, with the various emergency agencies, a plan that we were planning for hurricane season. And guess what? We had a chance to practice it in this particular situation, and it has worked great. So I want to thank him specifically for that. And that's pretty much all we have, Governor.
Very good. Thank you, Judge. And now Liberty County Judge Jay Knight.
Thank you, Governor. Well, Judge Keogh, as you know, we're a little bit more rural than you are, so we don't have nearly the assets on hand immediately. But thank the good Lord, we have the governor's teams together with Texas Division of Emergency Management, who came immediately. Actually, they were there before the incident really started. Now, in that consideration, volunteer fire departments, we depend on those guys all over the county. And we have 14, I believe, at this time. And they're stressed, but at the same token, they're doing everything they can to help folks. We have the Texas game wardens with the Department of Wildlife that came out and helped us. They brought immediately seven airboats to help in the rescues. So we discussed this earlier, Governor, with you and Chief Kidd. The incident over on the East Fork San Jacinto River is pretty much over as far as the incident, but not the recovery. That's where we're at now. My biggest concern right now is the Trinity River. I know that the dam is releasing 115,000 cubic feet per second right now. 787, which is the foreign market road on the north end of our county, has a bridge that's just been closed by TxDOT for erosion. I mean, it was just completed about a year ago, but I just got notification that US 90 is going to be closed between Bing and Liberty. So it tells you that the water is coming up. The water is still an issue. This incident is not over.
Right.
But boy, have I got a great team I get to work with, and thank y'all so much. Chief Kidd, I think this is the 9th or 10th incident we've had in the last 10 years, and Governor, you've been right there with us. And thank you so much for everybody.
Thank you, Judge. And now to Chief Nim Kidd, the head of the Texas Division of Emergency Management.
Thank you, Governor. As the people at the table have mentioned, life safety is still our #1 priority. It will be our #1 priority through the duration of this incident. As we move into recovery mode, damage assessments are critical to our future success. Please visit damage.tdm.texas.gov for individuals to report damage to their homes, and then we will work with our government partners to get our public assistance thresholds. If you have flood insurance, the first thing you need to do is contact your insurance agent. Flood insurance is very important to help you recover. But I will tell you, as of last night, we have only had 501 people statewide register claims with their flood insurance provider. That means either there's people that have not registered yet, or we have a whole lot of uninsured loss in this event. Tomorrow, our federal partners from the Small Business Administration and FEMA will be here to start doing damage assessments with us. You will see them with our state teams and our local partners go out to where they can safely access to start doing damage assessments. As a thumb rule, we need 800 homes that are major damage or destroyed, meaning lost the roof, lost exterior walls, or washed off their piers or foundations, that are uninsured to be eligible to qualify for FEMA individual assistance. But I want to set the standard here. FEMA individual assistance is a maximum of $75,000 grant. And if you go back to Hurricane Harvey, the average payout was only $2,400 per household. So flood insurance, if you do not have flood insurance right now and your home did not flood, just because you do not live in a flood plain does not mean you're not eligible for flood insurance. Call your insurance agent, try to get flood insurance if you were not flooded, because there's a 30-day waiting period and hurricane season is right around the corner. On the public assistance side for a federal declaration, our state agencies and local partners need to demonstrate over $54 million of uninsured damage to government infrastructure and response cost. I believe we're going to hit that for this event, but I've got to be able to demonstrate those numbers to our federal partners. It's said earlier, and I'll say it again, our local partners and first responders are best in the nation. I want to thank them for their tireless efforts out there. The state agencies, many standing behind us right now, live and work in these communities, and they're ready to support our local partners as well. Our federal partners have been here with us, and our volunteer organizations are the ones that really save our bacon whenever the federal government doesn't come in with individual assistance. The Red Cross has been working hard at opening shelters, but there are dozens of 501c3 volunteer organizations active in disaster that are out there working on the streets taking care of our citizens. We will be relying on them as we rebuild. Our damage assessments will start tomorrow. If you see those teams out, tell them thank you for being there. As the governor mentioned, you can have blue sky over these next few days and water can still be over the roads. Do not move a barricade to drive around it. It's placed there for a reason. It was not forgotten. It's there because somewhere down that road, either there's water over the road or the road may look dry and is unstable and not safe to drive on. Please turn around, don't drown when you get to a barricade. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And once again, thank you to all of the officials here today and the teams who work with them literally around the clock to make sure that constituents across this entire region will be taken care of. It's stunning when you think about it that more than a third of all the counties in the state of Texas have been impacted by this weather event. We have a massive undertaking over the coming days, but also know this, and that is the state of Texas is going to work side by side with all of these local officials until the very last house is going to be rebuilt. We're going to be here with you every step of the way. We'll take a few questions. So I have not yet. I don't know about NIM, but here's the way that it typically works, and that is we go through all the assessment part, and we kind of have to make an assessment about where we are before that official outreach begins. That said, I bet NIM will tell you what typically happens is he and FEMA are in touch before the storm even hits.
Yes, sir. We've had FEMA in our Emergency Operations Center with our federal partners, and every day me and my team are talking to FEMA Region 6. So great relationship there. They're ready to help.
Anybody else?
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.